the tuples themselves, and the individual primary keys for all of those entities can represent a super key as well, or can represent a candidate key as well, right? So in general, when we have a many-to-many relationship, that is up. Okay, so let's see. Where do I have the diagram? Give me a second. Where was that two thingy? Yes, right. So here we have two entities represented by a single relation. And this is a many-to-many relationship, right? So both customer ID and loan ID together would represent that relationship, right? So that is, in the broader sense, the maximum possible primary keys that borrower can have, both customer ID and loan ID, right? Okay. So that is what it says. Uh, for let's just say that instead of two entity sets, we can have n entity sets. If we have n entity sets, all of the primary keys for n entity sets together would be the maximal set of primary keys for that relationship, right? Now that depends on many things. So if all of the entity sets and all of their primary keys together be the set of primary keys for the relationship, let me pose this as a question. So let's say that I have 5 entity sets: E2, E1, E2, E3, E4, and E5. Right? And let's say that each of those have their own primary keys. And let's say primary key of all E underscore I for all I, right, is part of the relationship set, right? Let's say belongs to the, the relationship set has all of the primary keys for all of the entity sets, right? So is this type of a relationship a many-to-many or a one-to-many or a one-to-one? So if all of the primary keys for all entities are part of my relationship, so in my borrower relationship set, both customer ID and loan ID are primary keys. Imagine that case. Is that a many-to-many or a one-to-many or a one-to-one? Can someone answer? Do you guys have any guesses? So let's say that I have a customer, I have a loan, and both customer ID and loan ID are primary keys that are also part of that borrower table. Is this a many-to-many or a one-to-one or a one-to-many or a many-to-one? You can make random guesses. I don't mind. I have one many-to-one. Any other answers? Because I'm putting 2 to 1. Many-to-one? Okay. Remember what we talked about last class, right? If both of those primary keys are part of my borrower relationship, let's say that my customer ID is I don't know, 2, and my loan ID is, I don't know, L114, let's say. This is one pair. That means that the pair should be unique, right? Not one of those should be unique, the pair should be unique. Then that means that I can also have a single customer can have many loans, right? That also means that a single loan can be held by many customers. So A3 can be held by, let's say, L117. A4 can be held by L1 117 and A5 can be held by L117, right? So if both of these are my primary keys for borrower, then all of these are correct, right? Do you guys agree? All of these are legitimate primary keys. There is no duplicates. So isn't this a many to many? A single customer can have multiple loans. A single loan can have multiple customers. Right? So it's a, if both of those primary keys are joined together in my relationship, then that is a many to many relationship, not one to many, not many to one. It's a many to many, right? Do you guys agree? Adil, Yogi agrees. Alex, oh, right? Right. So this would be the generic set of primary keys that we can have. But there are different cases, right? So if it is a many to many, then primary key A union primary key B would be the relationship for, would be the primary keys for my relationship, right? If it is a one to many, then primary key B would be my primary key for my relationship, not for the A part. For primary key, only for primary key B would be my would be the part of my relationship. So because we can have a single customer can have multiple loans, right? And then the other way around, many to one would mean that primary key A would be the primary key that uniquely identifies relationships in R. So depending upon what we want, where was that? Right? Depending upon what we want, either a one-to-one mapping or a one-to-many or many-to-one or many-to-many. If it's a one-to-many, that means that a customer can have multiple loans. Then primary, so loan would be the primary key. If it's a many to one, each customer can only have one loan, but customer can share loans, then customer would be the primary key. If it's a many to many, that means that multiple customers can have multiple loans, then both of those together would be the key, right? Okay. And in case of one-to-one, we also discussed about this earlier last class. We both primary key A and primary key B are candidate keys, but they are separate candidate keys. They won't be used together. In that sort of situation, we would sort of say that primary key B is the primary key, but primary key A has a unique constraint, right? So primary key A won't be occurring more than once. And that would actually confine us to a one-to-one relationship, right? In case of borrower, as I said, both since it's a many-to-many mapping, we would have customer ID and loan ID both together as our primary key for the borrower relationship. And we would then have access date as a secondary additional attribute for our borrower. Okay. Any questions up to now? Right? Do you understand what becomes a primary key depending upon the mapping cardinality? Depending upon the mapping cardinality, we would have different set of primary keys. Many to many is both of those are primary keys. One to many, then the second one is the primary key. The one with the many part has the primary key. Many to one, the first one has the primary key. One to one of those is a primary key and the other one is a unique key, right? So depending upon these four broad classifications, let's say that a domain expert tells you that, you know what, I want a relationship where one particular customer can own one laptop can only be owned by one particular customer. Then we would design our particular ER diagram as, okay, so if it's a one-to-one mapping, let's say it's a laptop and owner. Yes, exactly how. Arrows will vary depending on the arrow diagram. So if it is a one-to-one mapping, can you tell me where would the arrows be? Would it be towards the laptop? Would it be towards the user? If it's a one-to-one mapping. Guys, remember what the arrows meant? Arrows meant one, right? So if it is a one-to-one mapping in the ER diagram, how would we say, let's say that one laptop can be owned by one user and one user can only own one laptop. So how do I design the arrows? Should it be a diagram without arrows? Should it be a diagram straight line? Yes. But let me draw boxes again. A single line two-ended arrow. Edward, do you agree with that? Should it be what your guess is? Should it be a single line with two-ended arrows if it's a laptop and a owner and it's a one-to-one mapping? I believe it should be something like this, right? Do you guys agree? That means that, and this would be an owns relationship, right? So one user can own one laptop can be owned by one user. However, if I had just a single line here, what does this mean? This means that one user can own multiple laptops. Exactly. One user can own multiple laptops, but a single laptop would have one owner. It cannot be shared by multiple users, right? Very good. Okay. So in case of this many-to-many relationship, we would have both customer ID and loan ID as our primary keys for borrower. In this situation, that is many to one. In that situation, laptop would be the primary key. One laptop, one user, right? But user can have multiple laptops, right? If it's a one-to-one relationship, then one of those would be the primary key, the other one would be a unique key, right? Now let's talk about another thing that ER diagrams actually allow us to do. So as I said, we talked about mapping cardinalities. Key constraints are also quite easy. The arrows and the lines themselves represent foreign keys and relationships, right? The other thing that we need to represent is participation constraints. This is something that is not represented by your relationship model. We could not represent this at all. Well, we could not represent mapping cardinalities that easily either, but mainly participation constraints can never be represented using relationship constraints. And on top of that, participation constraints are quite difficult to represent in SQL as well. You can, okay, so by default in SQL, participation constraints are quite difficult. So first, let me explain what participation constraints are. And every example we see